What are you eating? Are those some kind of pills or popcorn?
It's corn pops or mixed with garbanzo beans.
Can I have one, just please?
Do you want a corn pop or do you want a garbanzo?
Surprise me, they're pretty much the same
There's like
to me.
garbanzo, it's a little cheaper and not as much corn.
Diesel, you don't always have to eat.
There you go.
Diesel, you eat too much. The Den Life, Part 2.
Lamigan, you don't look so hot. Folks, Lamigan normally talks like his head off, and right now it's not looking so... Lamigan. No. Oh, Lamigan, no. Lamigan, you need to see a doctor, man. Lamigan.
Diesel.
Lamigan, are you okay? Listen, that was not right.
Diesel.
Lamigan, you need to see a doctor. Have you ever seen a doctor before in the past 30?
No, Diesel, I've never seen a doctor. I was born unhealthy, and now it's all coming to a head. Diesel, you need to help me.
Lamigan, this is all of your deadly sins from all your whole life coming back to haunt you.
It's all coming to a tip.
Lamigan,
It's all my fault.
That's flesh. You threw up flesh. Will you see a doctor, Lamigan? Will you?
I'll see a doctor.
My diet is eat when I'm full.
I'm sorry?
My diet is to eat when I'm full.
So are you just never hungry?
Yeah, that's one way to think about that.
Because if you're eating when you're full, then you'll always be full, and you'll never stop eating.
You're catching along, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean,
You're kind of like a Sherlock Holmes.
well, I've been touted for my investigative abilities in the past, and when I think about modern food systems and whatnot, I guess it makes more sense to eat when you're full, given that there's less magnesium in the soil these days, and you probably don't get the proper signals to your brain.
Sir, you're so sweet and you're so kind.
I'm very, I know,
You're
yes.
so sweet. But can I sit there? Can I sit and then?
And what, I sit
You could sit there. Diesel, please have my back on this.
It is proper. This is
Oh,
you're
no,
sitting in his chair.
I'll do it because you're,
So sweet.
we had a connection.
Thank you.
You've got the IV bag and everything. It's rude.
I feel sick because I couldn't sit there. I'm sorry.
Lamigan, did you offer him a drip?
Oh, did you need some? Did you want some?
Is that petroleum jelly?
It is.
Should I have just a little bit?
Sure. And you're so sweet. It's absolutely adorable.
You are such a sweet young man. You're so sweet. Look at me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Ford.
Feeling better?
Ford.
Excellent.
Feeling better?
Yeah, sinuses get a little chafed.
Okay, well,
Ford,
Ford,
look
I
at
think
me.
Ford Diesel's talking to you.
Yes, I'm sorry.
All right, look at me in my eyes. Get close.
I'm trying. What can I do for you?
I just wanted to say you're a sweet man. You're very sweet.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
That's it.
Paid for pain, paying for pleasure. Where were you before terrorism purported to prevail? Diesel, your nose looks puffy.
Give him some Vaseline.
Well, has he been drinking?
Give him some Vaseline.
I think I'm not drinking enough water.
Well, you haven't had water in a few days, huh? We'll have to get you some, okay? It's been a few days.
It's been several. Just like the several, Ford said there's several species.
Well, if you're full all the time, then there's probably not a lot of room for water if you're eating.
Right,
constantly.
and when you chew yummy food, your mouth makes saliva, and that's water.
Well, this is confusing for you fellas, because I said I'm not full all the time. I said I only eat when I'm full.
And you don't drink water, you have to swallow.
Well, there's water in food. Have
And
you ever eaten?
there's water in your mouth, Diesel, just swallow it. It's called saliva.
Yeah. It's NaO2.
Yeah, it's
Well,
delicious.
speaking of water,
It's delicious.
going deep down into those waters we were talking about,
Mariana's
what a
Trench.
murky conversation we were having.
It's very dark because of the lack of available sunlight, hence the bioluminescence as we discussed.
And there's very little information besides from what you're telling us now.
James Cameron. He went down there and he saw it all. James Cameron, the inventor of the Titanic.
I've heard of the Titanic.
Yeah.
Many perished.
Absolutely.
It was one of the greatest
Worse
disasters.
than 9/11.
It was worse than 9/11.
A lot of
Pearl Harbor,
firefighters
you name it.
died.
Almost everyone who died was a child.
Was there concealed carry on the Titanic?
Yes, actually there was. But the funny thing
So
about
tell
it,
me how it all went down then. Because
Well, I just wanna know-
if I'm concealing,
Well,
it's
How
very
did-
unlikely that my boat is going to get wrecked. I'd
How
kill
did
the
they catch the
captain before he
shooter?
can steer the ship.
How'd they catch the shooter
on the
on
Titanic,
the Titanic?
so everyone was on. Okay, so when they first had the Titanic, it was hot on the heels, no pun intended here, of the Hindenburg, the Zeppelin that blew up.
Chasing it.
Chase?
It was
No,
chasing it? The
no,
boat was
no.
chasing the
That
blimp?
was a different one. That was.
I love that
I
idea.
would love that idea.
An airplane chasing a car,
It needs to
or a
be a
car
movie.
chasing a
Baby,
bicycle.
it needs to be a
It needs to
movie.
be a movie. I just want to
boat
see that.
chasing
Boat
a
chasing a motorcycle.
blimp.
Motorcycle chasing
A guy in a
kite.
motorcycle on a blimp chasing
We're kind
a
of getting
boat.
into fantasy here, guys. If you want to hear the story, I
sorry,
can
we
continue,
just-
or you can
It's
talk
just guy
about.
talk. This is
talk
locker
about
room
your-
talk.
This is what men do.
Yeah,
And
they
I'm
talk about motorcycles chasing submarines. Yeah, that's what they do. Okay.
Well, sir, you should be so lucky to be here. Are you comfortable?
Yeah, I feel good.
Excuse me, Ford. Do you see my tank?
Yeah, it's a beautiful fish.
Thank you.
It's very nice. It's one of those
Freshwater
African
fish.
cichlids. Yeah, African
Fresh-
cichlid.
yes.
Exactly.
Freshwater.
Some kind of fishlet.
Fishlet. Fishlet.
So I have to ask before things get too volatile between us three.
It is
and
getting there.
getting there.
I feel comfortable.
Well, that's
Oh,
your
we
opinion.
We don't know if we like you.
And we haven't made a decision. And so what we wanted to ask you was, we want the Little Lions Den to be a society for men. To come here and just be
I
masculine.
mean, that's reasonable. More and more people come to me and they ask me about these kind of inquiries because, the changing
Well, do
face
you
of,
understand what I'm asking you? What am I asking you?
I mean, you're talking about the change in gender roles and about,
Can you paraphrase what I asked you?
you said, Ford, how do I turn this into a profitable man cave?
Yes, okay, good. Just checking
Right.
to make
I
sure you're
love that
paying attention.
man cave. I
I
love
love that idea.
Yeah.
Bats everywhere.
Just creepy
no,
rocks.
no,
These
no.
creepy skinny
no.
rocks.
Silverfish.
No,
Penis.
Penis
I'm
rockets.
sorry.
Penis rockets.
Penis
Penis
rocks.
penis rock.
Newsline.
News
Bits. We'll tell you about it, but you won't believe it. Newsline.
News bits.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between, thank you for stopping in for some Newsline news bits and some tidbits about all these crazy things. And folks, you already don't believe what you see. What you're looking at is a giant gull, a seagull, sitting next to man. Next to man. This seagull is bigger than man. And the thing that you don't believe, the thing that I know you don't believe, is how is this not an optical illusion? How is this seagull actually bigger than mankind? Folks, because you weren't there with the truth. You know that the truth is there. You don't know that the person who took the picture was there and saw it. And do you think that the man knew that the seagull was sitting next to him? I don't think so. They're very quiet birds, no matter how big they get. That is the biggest seagull I've ever seen. And it will fly so high into the sky that we'll never see it again. And I think that the man next to him might just forget and might think that he was dreaming, but I think that the seagull really was there. And I think that the seagull was the biggest seagull I've ever seen. I think that it was so big. It was just such a shocking news tidbit. It's just an alarming current event. When we see this bird so big, when you see this man so small next to this bird so big, it's a shock to the system, folks. It really is just a news tidbit. This is stuff that makes headlines. This is stuff that makes people's heads turn. Giant seagull stands next to a man, and there's nothing we can do about it, and there's nothing I can say to make you believe it other than the fact that the photographer who saw it took the picture because he knew that it meant something to you.
Okay, so now they found this gorilla. It's an old picture. It looks old, but it's actually very recent. It's a deathly gorilla, very deathly. That's what they call it. Folks, this gorilla has its cow chest. You might know that cows have multiple stomachs. It's double organ. They call it a double organ. So these guys, they took an old-timey photo. You can go to a museum and take these photos. And they brought this death gorilla with a cow skull in, and they went and took this photo, and it's a pretty cool photo. It looks really old. It's from 2003, but it looks like it could be from 1700s.
So we were wondering if you could make our Little Lion's Den into a secret society.
I think I could. I think I probably could.
Do you have the know-how?
Oh,
the
absolutely.
elbow grease?
Yeah,
Do you have the elbow grease?
I'm actually a trained drafter.
So what could you see? What do you
So
see?
I was right. All it takes is a bunch of paperwork and contracts. Just sign the name.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
you
hey,
did say
brother,
that,
you know, you got to get the government involved in everything if you want to make the real cash. You know
Well, the
that.
government's where the people are.
That's where the people, yep.
own the power.
The government supports the people, and the people support the power.
And it all trickles down into war.
Absolutely, yep.
Trickle-down war.
Trickle-down war economics. You got it, brother. Tomahawk missiles and the Phoenix Project.
You know, after 9/11, I thought we would be invaded by the Taliban, and I could just see myself running down the streets of Cleveland, tanks chasing me.
I mean,
and
who's to
just-
say it's not?
Just running away from tanks and
Well,
just dreaming of a place like this that I could hide. A place like this that I could hide
cave.
from the Taliban.
Can I sneak
Right,
a word in?
exactly.
Yeah, sneaky.
Caves are very
You're
popular.
so inconspicuous.
There's two things I want to sneak
You
in
stick
here.
out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, well, I bring the viewers. Everyone watches it because I'm the guy.
You would
You're
never
gross.
blend
You're just
into
some
a
guy
crowd.
wearing a
You-
net.
You would stand out in a crowd, Diesel, and I don't mean that in a nice way.
Yeah, and you would just walk on by. No double
but
takes.
no
No one
heads
would ever
would
look
turn.
twice at you.
I don't agree.
Hey, can I just say two quick things of note?
Absolutely.
Make it 3.
Absolutely.
Make it
I
3.
gotta move this. I
What?
feel like I'm in the way.
Yep, it's your show, buddy.
I'm just in the way.
Okay, guys.
Oh, you're kind of like you're surfing.
Thanks. Surfing with the alien, brother.
So there's three things I'd like to say. First of all, there's World War I. There's World War II.
They didn't call it World War
So
One.
World War III, they're actually calling the Triple War, and it hasn't started yet.
The Triple War.
And the second thing I wanted to say is I can definitely, absolutely outrun a tank.
Huh.
You could
With
outrun.
you and what?
Not
legs?
because I'm fast, but because they're very slow. They're
Where-
like moving buildings.
What
If
about
they're-
that?
Where's your legs? Diesel.
Lambigan.
You said you had 3 points to make?
Well, I said 3 because the first point I had was about the triple war, so it's still related to 3.
I love your smile.
There's a lot of gum.
There's so much gums.
So was it we don't have to keep talking, but do you agree with my things?
About all of the wars? Yes.
Use your words, Diesel.
Lambigan, do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So
You're
what were
welcome.
we talking about before that?
This is a place to seek refuge from
I'm glad I
everything.
It's like a
can just
cave.
interject
And,
the way
and
that
do
I
you
do.
think,
It's like a cave, like so many before us.
Dervin,
Bored.
do you think that we could convince that people would believe us if we told them war was coming and that this would be where they go and that they would pay us to come?
I mean, I when I think of, there are a lot of great men out there who had caves and were eventually found in them by soldiers. I believe you know what I'm talking about.
There's
Jesus
nothing
Christ.
more heroic than a
Jesus Christ.
soldier hunting down in a cave, just looking for stuff in a cave. They always
Absolutely.
find some old guy who killed so many people.
Right? Surrounded by a bed of rocks, ones they've collected.
Or even under a pile of rocks.
Under a pile, well, you have to hide somewhere. Hid in a cabinet. Who's to say that the guy wouldn't hide under rocks?
Marilyn Monroe was such a beautiful
It's funny that you mentioned Marilyn Monroe.
Look at these skins of these garbanzos.
Oh, you're not supposed to
Several.
eat the skins.
You're not?
No.
Oh, no.
You're going to get very sick.
Oh.
You're going to get very sick. You're going to get very sick. You're going to get very sick.
I'm sorry, go on, I
Oh,
interrupted.
no. We were just wondering how beautiful Marilyn Monroe was, but
She was hot.
I was wondering, is she hot?
Yeah,
Is
she's
she
hot.
hot if she was alive?
Yeah, by today's standards.
I think she would look like just a regular woman.
This is the kind of stuff we want to talk about, but we want to make it official. Can you help us forward? What do we want?
Lord, look
what
around
can
you. What needs to happen?
What about a picture of an old man doing some hard labor, and at the bottom it says, "Another day in paradise."
Yeah, it's a good, yeah, definitely. Maybe a lunchbox with, I don't know, an old classic character like, from,
Well, how do you know that how do you make enough air for people to breathe, for all the people? Because if there's going to be that many,
that part's easy.
how do you make sure they can all...
You just get a wrench and you put a hole, twist wrench, put a hole right in the wall. Air comes in, you put another wrench hole in the other wall, air goes out.
And if I want to stop the air, I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
So everybody in there stops breathing at my command. Down the hole and into the basket. I'll see you where things are wet and wrong. Diesel, I think we're on to something.
I like that. This
So we'll
might-
get them all in the room, if we have to, running away from tanks, and
We're actually just walking.
that would give us much power. And I don't seek it.
You don't want power. You just
I
you
don't
like
seek
it when it's there.
But why do you want to cut the I mean, knowing what we know about James Cameron at the bottom of the Marianas Trench with his...
Fill it with water.
The failure with the propeller. And obviously
I said fill it with water.
You-
Fill this room with water.
His was not filled with water. He had a lot of money, so he stopped it from happening.
Can I ask an interesting question to you, Ford?
Yes, sir.
If suddenly by accident that this studio would start to fill up with water,
Okay, that's reasonable.
would we all be considered sea creatures?
If we survived throughout it, yeah, we would. We'd be sea creatures.
Thank you.
Sea creatures both seen,
I just feel so good to hear someone agree with that.
I'm
right.
sorry, Diesel. I just think that sometimes you speak
I know I
because
speak because I
your
think
mouth,
that I have to. Okay,
You speak because your mouth can move up and down.
just slightly.
So, yeah, chomp, chomp. Yeah, but you want a snack.
You like that, don't
I'm
you?
liable to feed you all these
Oh,
snake
oh,
skins.
I would adore that.
I'll give you one of the ones with
Yeah, I'm about to do that.
without the skin. Or you want to just give him
No,
the
I'm
skin?
gonna give him the skin. I want to make him very sick. You deserve that. You deserve that, you know. Yum, chop chop.
I like this. Hey,
Those
where's my
tiny yellow
glasses?
screwdriver teeth are not holding up well under those skins.
Diesel, you're always losing your glasses. Because you don't got ears. Oh, have a seat, sir. Please. Please, have a seat.
Oh, those too much.
Oh, sir, have a seat, please. No. Please. Please. Don't get up. Don't get up. Please have a seat. Okay, well, you just sit there while I find some glasses.
Lamigan, not again. Lamigan, not again. I don't even feel bad for you. You just need to see a doctor. You're a sick puppy. You're a sick dog.
Disgusting.
Yeah, you are a sick dog.
Oh, I'm sorry, Diesel. I got you on. I made you unhealthy too. Now we have to get a doctor in here.
Well, yeah, because now I probably have the same thing that you have.
I wasn't joking, Diesel, when I said I didn't want you to die. I don't want
But
you
now-
to outlive me.
Yeah, but now you might. Now I might outlive you, which is your worst nightmare. Hey, folks.
I feel
people
fine.
watching the
I
Little
feel
Lions
fine.
Den. Hey, if you're out there watching the Little Lions Den, don't worry. We're gonna get some samples taken. We're gonna get a real doctor in here, and he's gonna figure out what the hell is going on with Lamigan, because that's not right. That's actually disgusting.
Oh, well, thank you, Diesel. I hope that you can.
I'm like your mama. I'm your mama. Mommy's here.
And I hope that somebody could please call a doctor.
Lamigan,
Diesel,
Mommy's here. I'm your mama.
do you have telephone, Diesel, to call the doctor?
I don't have a telephone, but
He'll be here soon, though, right?
Mama's coming, Lamigan. Mommy's coming.
Oh, okay, if you say so.
I'm your mama.
So we're gonna see a doctor, and you're my mama.
Lamigan, give me a hug. I'm your mommy.
Thank you, Diesel. No.
Mommy's here, Lamigan. Mommy's here, Lamigan. Mommy's here, Lamigan. Mommy's here, Lamigan.
Wait till you get a load of me.